Hi everybody, welcome back to another vlog. This is an IVF update. I think we're at part 5 I think this one is. So much has happened and I'm so sorry that I haven't actually spoken to any of you guys prior to this, because I've just been in a bit of a bad headspace. I had some sort of not nice side effects from some of the injections and things like that. So let's go back a little bit and talk about some of the stuff that's been going on recently and throughout the journey. So I can't remember when I saw you guys last, but basically we had started our injections. We did in November 6 days of Embryo. We then on the 6th day included Cetrotide, and that was for 7 to 8 days, I believe it was. And we then had on the Saturday the 13th of November, we had 3 injections. So that was the Cetrotide, the Embryo, and then we had a trigger injection as well. I'm not quite sure what the name of that trigger injection was. For myself, this is just me and, as I say, my sort of take on IVF and what's happened with me through the whole journey. So for myself, I had some not nice side effects. I was vomiting a little bit, I felt continuously nauseous, and I had a thumping headache. It was sort of sitting right on the sides of my head, just above my eyes, and oh boy, it really got to me. Like, it really started to get me down. So I know when I went through all of that, I sort of had around 2.5 weeks off work. I just ate and slept. That's all I sort of did. It'd get to around 5 o'clock and I'd be like, oh yeah, feeling really good now, this is great, I'm feeling amazing. And at 6:30 we'd be doing the next injections, and I was just like, oh my gosh, is this my life? Like, what do I do? But you know, I was really lucky I had Rob. Rob did all of the injections for me, and if you ask him, he will tell you how much he really enjoyed doing them. So if you're going through IVF, or you're gonna go through it at all, and your partner is the one doing your injections, just be so kind to them. Be really, really kind, because they could be really horrible. I'm lucky Rob was really good about it. The first injection we had to do, bearing in mind he'd never injected anyone before, and I'd never had somebody not trained doing my injections. I stood there sobbing and he was giggling, like nervous giggling, and then I ended up having a massive go at him because I was so like, you can't be laughing, it's not funny, you're not funny at all, I hate you, stop this. And then I cried more, and yeah, and he did the injection and it wasn't too bad. Like, I think I had a bit of site pain for around 5 minutes, and I just sort of paced back and forth through the kitchen and I was fine. So after all of that, trigger injection, as I say, had to be done on the Saturday the 13th of November. Ready for egg collection, which was Monday the 15th of November. So we went up to Port Albert, Neath Port Albert. I wasn't out of it, but I was completely out of it, if that makes any sense at all. I was given, I believe it was morphine and Valium. Now this is the girl that only ever has a codeine very rarely if I need it, and I mean very, very rarely. I don't think I've actually had a codeine for at least 18 months, maybe 2 years. So they were, sorry, dog's tail. So they said to me, look Jodie, you know, you're gonna just feel a little bit drunk. I was like, oh brilliant, I haven't been drunk in 2 years, this will be fun. I remember going in. I remember the worst bit was putting my legs into the stirrups, and if any of you ladies have ever been to any sort of appointment like this, you'll understand exactly my meaning. All dignity goes out the window completely. You've got a room full of people just looking in that general area and having a bit of a poke and a pod around. The anaesthetist put everything into the back of my hand. That was actually the most painful part of the whole procedure, was having the needle put in my hand. After that, I remember chattering to them for around 5 minutes, and then I lose 20 minutes of my life. I remember coming to in the little recovery bay and asking for my dressing gown to be put over me because I was chilly, and then within sort of 40 minutes, as long as I ate and drank, I was allowed to go home. I did have, over the coming days then, a bit of pain and tenderness. It felt like period pains, and as Rob sort of said to me and kept reminding me, I had literally had eggs ripped out of my body, so I was going to have a little bit of pain and things like that, so that's all normal. Over the few days then, we had a phone call because on the same day as I had my egg collection, Rob had to produce a sample, so that was all done while we were up in Neath. So yeah, that was all done while we were up in Neath. Then on, I believe it was the Wednesday, we had a phone call to say that the embryos had taken and that they were growing and they were at a stage that they expected them to be at. And all being well, we would have had the transfer done on the Thursday. On the Thursday morning, I had the phone call to say, look, you know, everything is going as they should be. I think we had 13 eggs, I'm just holding a dog's ball, sorry. We had 13 eggs collected. 9 of those eggs were viable to be fertilised, so we had 9 fertilised. 6 sort of survived the fertilisation, I should say. And then they were the ones that were sort of growing as they went along. On the Thursday then, as I say, I had the phone call and they said, look, everything is going as it should be, but we don't yet want to transfer. We're going to see you on Saturday, the 20th, and we're going to transfer then, so if you could be up at Neath by, I think it was 9:30. So I was like, right, okay, yeah, no problem at all. Saturday morning came, and as you can imagine at this point, I'm really, really anxious. We were already on the road to Neath. We had to have the phone call then about the COVID, just COVID consultation, just to make sure that we felt okay and everything else. So we're on the road and we're going, and we were actually advised that 4 of our embryos were no longer viable and they didn't survive. So at this point we only then had 2 left. The nurses and everything, and I cannot stress this enough, the support you get from the nurses, the staff, the surgeons, everybody that you deal with are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I'm not even joking. If you have to go through this and you go through this at Neath, please never stress, because the nurses there and all of the staff there are absolutely second to none. They are amazing. So when we got to the hospital then, again, it was another day where Rob couldn't come in with me, so that was a little bit daunting. We went in, we sat down, or I went in and sat down, I should say. It was very odd being there on a Saturday. I had to go with a full bladder. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but if I've been in the car for any sort of journey, when I get to my destination, I have to pee. It's like a programmed problem with me these days. I always have to pee. Wherever I go, I have to pee when I get there. Simple. Not that day. That day, I had to get 1.5 litres of water into my body with what feels like a bladder the size of a peanut, and I had to hold it in there. So I got to the hospital, I went upstairs, the nurse said, hi Jode, everything all right? I was like, yeah, can I pee? No. You got 20 minutes. We can do this, you've got 20 minutes. So I was like, right, okay, no problem. So I go in, gowned up. I didn't have to remove any of like my t-shirt or my bra. I could keep that on, but everything from sort of waist down, as you can imagine, had to come off. They put a gown on me, one of those really attractive gowns that has your butt hang out and everything. It was great fun. Into theatre, and again, you had to put your feet in the stirrups. At this point, my dignity is all gone anyway, so let's get them on up there. For the egg transfer, it was very sweet. They allow me to take a photo of my embryo, so I will pop that in just here. They also allowed me to video at the end the embryo being implanted but they also give you a scan photo of your embryo once it's in. That was a really cool sort of procedure, and as it was going on I got to watch all of this and I was chattering to everybody, and I can't stress this enough, it was less painful than a smear test having your egg transferred back. There was no pain there at all. It was really quite phenomenal. I was expecting to be really uncomfortable, and like the movies where you have to have your legs up then for like 2 hours afterwards, you know, blah blah blah. So it's like, right, okay. They basically go in, they find where they need to go, they put what's it called, a catheter up on in, and then you can see the little white dot path through the catheter and into your womb essentially. So again, I will pop that photo in here. Once that had been done, I was then advised that I was not under any circumstances allowed to do a pregnancy test before the 4th of December. And I was really sort of confused by this. When I questioned it, it's down to the fact of all the hormones that are in your body and all of the hormones that you have to continue taking after the procedure. They could give you a false positive. So however difficult it was for Rob and I, we did not test. We got given pessaries as well, which are a bit like a suppository. It can go vaginally or anally. It's just sort of like a little bullet, as it looked like. These were, alright, I can never pronounce this, progesterone hormone, and that is proven to help prevent miscarriage within the first 8 to 12 weeks, depending on how long you need to have them for. So if it's a fresh embryo, I believe it's 8 weeks. If it's a frozen embryo that's been transferred, then it is 12 weeks. So I had a very anxious 2 weeks wait. I had gone back to work at this point, and everybody has been so supportive. They've been absolutely brilliant. Managers, colleagues, everything. They've been absolutely phenomenal. And Saturday the 4th of December, I was allowed to test. I had my 2 best friends texting me at 7:20, we're waiting. Rob was still in bed. I had woken up at 6 o'clock in the morning, desperate for a wee and desperate to be doing these tests. So I peed into a pot, popped it on the windowsill because it's got to be the first pee of the day, and I decided I would wait as long as I could till Rob woke up or whatever. 10 to 8 came and I couldn't wait any longer. Text the girls to say I was going to do a test. I dipped them. I even got the ones with the flashing lights, so you know that there's enough urine on them, and it said that it was testing. I put it on the windowsill, and by the time I had put that test on the windowsill, it came back with, I don't know if it's going to focus or if you can see it, there we go, pregnant. So I am now pregnant. The 4th of December, it was really difficult. I did 2 because I didn't trust it, of course. It was really difficult because we couldn't gauge how far along we were because it was an IVF baby, so it's very odd. The timings are all off. So following Monday then, the 22nd, sorry, the 6th, I phoned the hospital. I advised them that I was pregnant, and they gave me a date of the 28th of December. And that date was for my first scan. So off to Neath we went, first scan time, super excited as you can imagine. Got there, it was an internal scan, so again Rob wasn't allowed to come in due to COVID, so that was a little bit upsetting. This scan was to make sure that everything was how it should be and to see whether or not it was a single or a multiple pregnancy. Rob and I sort of had our hearts set on it being a multiple pregnancy, though that it was done. We wouldn't need to go through this whole journey again, but it isn't. Unfortunately, it is a single pregnancy. However, we are still over the moon, as you can imagine. We are so excited, so super excited for it. We are now at the stage where it is the 4th of January today, and as of today I am exactly 9 weeks pregnant. So everything is as it should be. Little Bubble is doing what he's meant to do. He's cooking away. And on or around the 25th of January, we will be having our 12-week scan. So stay tuned, guys, and I will see you all then.
Well, thank you very much.